Good morning, traders. I'm Emily Bonney, the CEO of the Investment Banking Institute and your host here at NewsWare's Trade Talk. Joining me is trading anchor Bill Olson, who brings more than 30 years of institutional trading experience to our program. At Trade Talk, we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Today is Friday, March 1st. We begin a new month of trading today after all three major indices clocked gains yesterday following a read on inflation that was in line with expectations. The Dow gained 47 points or 0.12%. The S&P 500 added just more than 0.5%, and the NASDAQ advanced 0.9%. Bill, let's get into a new month with what is happening in the markets this morning.
Hi, yes. Good morning, Emily. Let's take a look at the S&Ps. We're higher, up 0.1%. We were lower. Last night's earnings reports were very positive, but I just want to say there's like caution in the air. This morning we get the manufacturing at 10 a.m. You get those manufacturing PMIs coming out, construction spending coming out. That's going to be setting the tone a lot for today, but. New York Community Bancorp announced material weakness in some of its internal controls. That's sending the stock lower. They're also removed the CEO, ADTN, Natron, and Beyond Beef, BYND. These guys announced delays in issuing their 10K filings. Archer Daniels Midland, ADM, Apple David Mary. They also see material weakness in internal controls and they're unable to file their 10K report on time. It doesn't mean it's negative. It just means I'm cautious. And then we take a look at what's going on overseas, and we look at Europe this morning. And Europe is showing gains. I mean, we're looking at the DAX. It's up 0.5% or 89 points. We're looking at the FTSE up 0.7% or 53 points. We're looking at the CAC. The CAC is flat. It's up 2 points essentially. You're looking last night in Asia, and Asia, really was positive. You're looking at the Nikkei, it jumped 744 points. That's 1.9%. Tech was really strong in Asia last night. Then you look at Hong Kong. Hong Kong moved higher by 78 points or about 0.5%. Shanghai moved higher by 0.4%. That National People's Congress is going to be meeting on March 5th. There is talk about, them providing additional market support. They're really cracking down on some of these quant funds. So, they're really trying to put out efforts to stabilize their markets over there in China. And, you're seeing some gains as a result. We're keeping an eye on oil prices. The oil prices are higher this morning. In fact, they're up, over 1.5%. You're looking at WTIs at $79.62 a barrel, whereas Brent is at $83.24 a barrel. The big news in the tape on oil is Middle East peace talks between Israel and Hamas have stalled. Apparently, there was an escalation in violence. In the Middle East, recently, like in the last few hours, which is causing those peace talks to stall. So no ceasefire, which is causing oil prices to spike this morning. But that's what I have for you in terms of a morning market update report, Emily.
Bill, we can hear in your opening there that the news flow is not slowing down on this Friday. Plenty of information and data to be digesting today. And you're keeping track of all of this using your NewsWare. You mentioned earnings, some strong earnings, but you did sort of point to there's still a little bit of caution in the air as investors sort of gain a gauge on the overall economy. And we're going to look at the day's economic events and a ton of Fed speak. So let's start first with earnings action. Bill, give us a rundown of the day's earnings action.
Let's talk off Zscaler, ticker ZS, Zebra Sam. They beat by 18 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. You look at Zscaler this morning, and it's down 6.5%. Autodesk, ticker ADSK, Apple David Sam Kilo, they beat by 14 cents on that. Was done on higher revenue. That stock is up 8.65%. Then you get Dell Technologies, ticker DELL, David Edward Larry, they beat by 47 cents on higher revenue. That stock is up 26.09%. Wow. Then NetApp, ticker Network Appliances, or NetApp, ticker NTAP, Nancy Tom, Apple Paul, they beat by 25 cents, and they did that on higher revenue. NetApp is up 18.76% this morning. No earnings out after the bell today, but Monday morning we got C Limited, ticker SC, Sam Edward. Their EPS is 2 cents. Expected move is 6.29%. And then Monday afternoon, you have GitLab, ticker GTLB, Grace Tom, Larry Boyd. Their EPS is 8 cents. Expected move is 16.01% when they release Monday afternoon, Emily.
Before we get into a bunch of economic events of the day, I have to pause on DELL. Bill, that was your pick of the day. Yesterday, up more than 26% here this morning after that big beat. We're going to get a full recap on that pick of the day by the end of the show, because there's even more to the story on how you got into the stock. So stick with us until the end. Now we are going to turn to the economic events of the day, a number of reports and a host of Fed speak. Bill, give us a rundown there.
9:45 a.m. this morning, we get the PMI manufacturing figures coming out. At 10 o'clock, we get the key number. This is the ISM manufacturing index. That's the one the market will be paying attention to. Construction spending also coming out at 10 a.m. That's going to be widely watched. Consumer sentiment, 10 a.m. University of Michigan numbers, not a big fan. That's what we have for economic reports coming out today. But then we got a lot of Fed speak. 8:30 a.m. We got Richmond Fed Bank President Thomas Barkin will be speaking. At 10:15, you're going to be hearing from Fed Governor Christopher Waller and Dallas Fed Bank President Lori Logan. At 12:15 p.m., we're going to be hearing from Atlanta Fed Bank President Raphael Bostic. That's 3 days in a row for Bostic. 1:30 p.m. San Francisco Fed Bank President Mary Daly speaking, and at 3:30 Fed Governor Adriana Kruger is also scheduled to speak. Next week, big heavy week for economic reports. Tuesday you got the JOLTS report. Powell's going to be speaking next week. You got the Beige Book being released. President Biden's got a State of the Union address next week, and of course on next Friday we get the non-farm payrolls, which is going to be released. Typically, it's released on the first Friday of the month, but not this week because it's for various reasons. It's going to be released next Friday, so that's going to be the key one. A lot of employment data next week. But that's what I have for you in terms of economic update, Emily.
Bill, that seems like enough information to be keeping track of today. That earnings action, those economic events and reports, and the Fed speak, and you're still, well aware of what's going to happen next week, anticipating that, all because you have NewsWare. You're breaking this down into alerts so you can see all the data and information you need for any given trading day. And you're also looking at things like merger news, guidance news, shareholders meetings, buyback news, other catalysts, looking at your FANG stocks grouped together, your Dow 30 stocks grouped together. And as if you haven't told us enough to be watching today, Bill, what else do you see as possibly moving the markets today?
Just looking at my Dow stocks, they got 17 higher, 11 lower, the rest unchanged. I'm looking at my FANG stocks, gains in Amazon, Google, Meta, Netflix, but Tesla and Apple are a little weakening. The banks are for the most part lower. Autos are showing flat to higher. Airlines, nice gains in UAL and Delta this morning, I will say. Drug stocks, we're seeing some positive flow in Lilly. Pfizer too. Pfizer had on account had when it was talking about catalysts for the upcoming near-term results for the company, and they're very positive. Stock's up 0.4% this morning. Retail semiconductors all in the green. Retail all higher except for Home Depot. Home Depot's fractionally lower. We're looking at some of the news behind the headlines, like Google Canada is to expand its probe into Google's advertising Practices. Tesla superchargers are now open to Ford EV vehicles. See Tesla's rolling out more discounts on China in a price war with BYD. It's heating up. But on the same front, Tesla's hiking the prices of U.S. Selected Model Y vehicles, so it's interesting. Let's talk Dow Jones 30 stocks, and let's start off with Apple and Amgen. Apple was removed from the conviction list over at Goldman Sachs, but an Amgen was added. They still have a buy rating on Apple, but they removed it from their conviction list. So as a result, you're seeing Apple shares trading a little weak this morning. Disney, the family of Walt Disney, ticker DIS, they're opposing the nominations put forth by Nelson Peltz. Disney's in good hands. They don't need a new CEO. Salesforce, just want to point out, CRM, Charlie, Richard, Mary, they're having a conference next week, as well as NVIDIA. NVIDIA is having a conference next week. It could be some developments there to keep an eye on. Chevron, ticker CVX, Charlie Victor X-Ray, they're developing a 5 megawatt hydrogen production project in California Central Valley. Merger news, TDCX, Tom, David, Charlie, X-Ray, TDCX Inc. They're going to go private at a valuation of 1.037 billion. GE Verona, and GE Aerospace to launch April 2nd of 2024, General Electric. In terms of guidance news, Zscaler, ticker ZS, Zebra Sam, they see Q3 EPS 64 cents to 65 cents. Street estimates 58 cents. That's an uptick. Viva, ticker VEEV, Victor, Edward, Victor, they see Q1 non-GAAP EPS $1.42 to $1.43. Street estimate was at $1.27, uptick. NetApp, ticker NTAP, they see Q4 adjusted EPS $1.73 to $1.83. Street estimate $1.73. That's an uptick. HP Enterprises, they see Q2 adjusted EPS 36 cents to 41 cents. Street estimates 45 cents. That's a downtick. Talking shareholders meetings, Jack in the Box, ticker JACK, John Apple, Charlie Kilo. They're having a shareholders meeting today. I believe that starts at 11:30 a.m. Buyback news, MFA Financial, Michael Frank Apple, MFA. Their board authorized a new 200 million share repurchasing program. And Old Republic, ORI, Oscar Richard India, Old Republic announced a 1.1 billion share repurchasing authorization. In terms of Catalyst calls, JD, as in JD.com, John David, Morgan Stanley calls JD.com a new Catalyst-driven idea. And the Morgan Stanley's also watching Full Truck Alliance, that sticker YMM, Yellow, Mary, Mary. They call that a Catalyst-driven idea as well. So that's what I have for you about news hitting the tape this morning, Emily.
This is the type of data that NewsWare delivers daily. It's factual, it's market moving, and our alerting functions bring it to your attention as it happens. Go to www.newsware.com now and sign up for the trial and see for yourself the benefits that professional NewsWire delivers. We've now made it to that time of the show for the Trade Talk pick of the day. Bill, what do you have for us to end this week and start a new month?
Going with a volatility play, Zscaler, ticker ZS, Zebra Sam. Earnings came out after the bell yesterday. They were positive, 18 cents. I'm seeing, the call volume, yesterday was 52% on the put side, 48 cents on the call side. But that's okay because the earnings came out. You're looking at the open interest, 74,683 on the call side, 70,466 on the put side. So it is positive on the open interest. Now, I'm looking at brokers. They are raising price targets this morning, including Citibank. So I'm positive on that when I see major brokers raising price targets. But I don't want to just jump into this. I mean, I at 222. I'm comfortable. I want the 221 area. I think it could fall to 220, but I'm comfortable in the 221, 222 area because I just got to I'm looking for 1%, and I think this one's really going to move today. So my pick of the day is Zscaler, ticker ZS, Zebra Sam. I'm gonna say 222 area. We'll see if that hits. But that's my pick of the day, Zscaler, Emily.
Taking advantage of some volatility there in that stock, that data-driven approach. And coming up, as I promised our listeners, we'll do a full check-in on your DELL pick to see if your strategy worked there. So stick with us. But first, let's take a look at the current breaking headlines that have hit the tape in our hot off the press segment. Bill, take it away.
Let's just Elon Musk sues OpenAI and their CEO for breach of contract. He feels that they're too focused on profit motives rather than, doing good for humanity. Cooper's company, ticker COO, company raised its annual revenue forecast yesterday, and they beat expectations for quarterly sales. Fisker, the EV startup warned on Thursday might not be able to continue as a going concern as its shares are tumbling. It's cutting its workforce by about 15%. It doesn't look good. New York Community Bancorp, they replaced their CEO, reported a fourth quarter loss that was more than 10 times what it previously stated and disclosed false in its financial reporting in a filing yesterday. I mean, the stock is just tumbling this morning. The bank named a new guy as executive chairman, and he has the roles of president and CEO. Yeah, it's ugly, NYCB. B. Riley, the brokerage firm said it was exploring strategic options for some of its business, which could include a potential sale, sending its shares plunging. The shares are falling because of that hedge fund incident they have going on there. Mattel, here's another one. Toy maker Mattel said Thursday it's unable to file its 2023 annual report within the prescribed time. after it identified certain deficiencies, which represents material weakness. Just another one. Bank of America, is talking about massive inflows into crypto funds. Yeah, FSR Fisker unable to file its annual report as well. Macau, Las Vegas Sands, LVS. Macau reports February casino revenue up 79.1%. Wow. I checked. Las Vegas Sands is trading a little lower. This is a positive news story. Here's one. Apple. Hyundai and Kia pushing toward deal on Apple Car. Interesting. They say that the Vision Pro market demand is slowing significantly. These are expensive headsets. That's all I'm saying this morning, Emily.
Okay, Bill, before we dive into this Friday, let's check in on that pick of the day from yesterday. We mentioned it. It was Dell. I saw a host of price target raises on the stock this morning by Evercore, Barclays, Wells Fargo, Morgan Stanley, amongst other brokers. Morgan Stanley calling it a top pick this morning. You did give us that earnings report during your earnings rundown. They did beat by 47 cents on higher revenue. They reported Q4 revenue of $22.3 billion. The consensus there had been $22.1 billion. The company did credit their strong numbers to a boost in AI-led server demand. Most are powered by NVIDIA. They also announced a 20% increase in their annual cash dividend to $1.78 per common share. Really just positive news all around for the company. As we mentioned, the stock is flying high this morning, but you were looking at an entry point yesterday that was spot on. So give us a full story. Give us a recap on that pick of the day.
Yeah, well, listen, yesterday morning I was watching Dell and the stock was trading, 93, 94, and I didn't like it at that price. So I said, listen, you know what? My entry price on Dell yesterday was 91. And the stock opened at 91. That's 2 days in a row where I picked the low of the day, because that 91 was the low of the day. It's 2 days in a row I picked the low of the day as the entry point. So, that was lucky. Stock opened 91, and from there it just took off. It just kept running all day long. It ran all the way up to and closed at $94.66. 91 to 94. That's much more than 1%. That's like 3%. And then you look at the stock today. I mean, I sold out after my 1%. I was happy. I walked away. But, if you did hold, hey, the stock's up 26% this morning to 119.40. So my entry point of 91 was perfect. And now it's trading 119.40. So what is that? That's like a $29 move from where I called it yesterday. So yeah, can I say Dell Computer worked out? Absolutely, and absolutely, we made the 1%. We were happy. So, it was a good day for trading yesterday, Emily.
A big win there, and it was a winning month on Wall Street. Was it a winning month for the pick of the day? In February, there were 20 picks, Bill, one loss, one flat trade. Even if we keep that flat trade in those numbers, a 90% win rate, I will call that a winning month for the pick of the day as well. We will check in with you Monday about today's Zscaler pick of the day to see how we start off in March. Bill, thank you as always for your expert insight. Join us back here Monday and each weekday morning next week at NewsWare's Trade Talk, when we provide the facts, themes, and trading ideas for the day ahead. Again, I'm your host, Emily Advani, here with trading anchor Bill Olson. Traders, you know what to do. Let's go out there and make some green.